It's JMan Maneiro, JMan Seminars with our brand new edition. It's called MilleniWHO Talks, and we're here with Melissa Gomez from the Long Island Board of Realtors. Hi, Melissa. How are you? Air high five. So maybe let's just start off with introductions, who you are, maybe years in the business area, a little bit about that. How about you?
My name is Melissa Gomez. I have been in the business my entire life just because I've been second generation, but sales for the past 5 years. And as far as my involvement at the board, I am past president for my board's Young Professionals Network. And I've been chair for the Professional Standards Committee, which I'm currently chair for LIBOR. And I've also been chair on the Education Committee, as well as I've been involved in some other committee work. And I'm going to be the 2018 secretary for the Long Island Board of Realtors. I work in Queens and Nassau though. I am downstate.
Downstate. So yeah, how long have you been in the business?
Sales 5 years, but I got my license when I was 18, so that was 16 years ago. I got my license when I was 18. I did only a few sales while I was in college. When I graduated college with a finance degree, I sat back and I was like, what am I going to do? So then I worked from the management perspective in my company, and I had to go out and earn my stripes, which is when I went into sales.
So was it pretty much like I don't want to say predetermined path for you since you're a second generation realtor, or was it like
the last thing my father wanted me to do was real estate?
Okay, so what was it that drew you to it, or sucked you back in, let's say?
I worked for him as a receptionist, so I got to see more of the environment. When I had to sit down and have a conversation with myself about what I wanted to do, I'm not one of those people where I can be confined to a specific space for a long period of time. So I love that you can go in and out and do this and do that. You have flexibility. And at the end of the day, as far as a career is concerned, you are your own boss. So I like that because the idea of working for somebody else, and you could work for somebody 40 hours a week for 20 years of your life, and then they could let you go,
Right.
Was not interesting. It was not something that was of interest to me. And I was in finance, so it was like that probably would have been my path.
And we saw how that went, right?
It was a few years before the crash when I graduated college.
Perfect timing. So I guess you're a little bit humble in the fact that, are you the first ever YP to be on the executive board at the Long Island Board of Realtors? Is that
yes, and I'm youngest of age to date. Whoever breaks the mold after me, I congratulate you. But I am the youngest of age to date that is on the executive office, which I'm really excited about.
So hold on, we got to give you a virtual audience round of applause. Well, I mean, and that's important. It's a big part of what we're doing. It's, not having somebody in that position before. You're breaking through ceilings and walls and buildings. Okay.
But you know what's hilarious though is you see that, but I've actually been on the director. I've been in the room and the boardroom as a director since I was 24. So it's almost going to be 10 years that I've been in the room. So it's not like it was an overnight success, which I feel like some people are trying to make it seem like that's what it was. I'm like, this has been 10 years in the making for me to be a secretary. I'm not even president, but it's been interesting,
So how does it work at your board? You go in line and each person serves like a 1-year term, so you'd be in line to be like president in 2020, or is...
No, so every year you interview for a different executive office position.
Okay.
And the reality is next year, technically, could I interview for a president-elect? Technically, I could. I don't think that's my path yet. I think I want to go into treasurer. I have to see how the years go before I become president. But it's not like it's automatically a step up. You have to go and fight for it, and they have to see that you're the best candidate for the job at the time.
Well, I like that because I think in some boards, some of the smaller boards, and for those who don't know, Long Island Board of Realtors, it's like 27,000 members or something like that, right?
Just a few people.
Plus or minus. No, it's even a bigger accomplishment. But some of the smaller boards, they start, if you get the secretary position, you just kind of automatically move up through the ranks.
Well,
And,
our state association works like that too. When
yeah.
you're really interviewing for secretary, you're really interviewing for the position of president. And I am not going to lie. When I went in front of them to interview for secretary, I told them, I was like, my goal is to be president. So so if you choose me, you're telling me that you want me to be president 1 year. Because if not, if you don't, then don't choose me. It's okay.
So I mean, honesty is an important part of being a good leader, right? I mean, you got to tell them what your plan is. But what made you want to get into leadership? Like, at what point did you say, like, okay, this is my path. This is what I have to go this route? Because it's not easy. Like you said, 10 years in the making where you are right now. It's nothing. It's no small feat.
I first got involved with our board through our chapter. I was introduced to the chapter through a past president for LIBOR, which is Buddy Hussein. And then there I met who I call my big brother, Moses. And I didn't know what I was really signing up for at first, to be very honest with you. But once I was involved, what I felt or what I saw was that I felt like there might be an opportunity to make change in what I view as my career. And the people that are in this room have the ability to affect my career. So I felt that it was important for me to have a voice in there. And then I did segue away from the chapter where then that's because at that point, that's when Kate Kaplinka, Kate Conquest got our charter for the YPN. And, then I moved forward, was able to create it as a division. Kate was our first president, and then I took over after. And that I kind of went to nurture that. I went to nurture the Young Professionals Network in our board to really try to help give it the foothold that it needed, the attention that it needed at that point in time. And what I love about how I feel that we have our YPN right now is that they are all young. Obviously, they are young people, and they are all active in the business. Very raw, very honest, and genuinely want to do better and be better and want that for other people. That's what I always loved. I think about younger people is that we're sponges because we know that we don't know everything yet. But we are we going to examine things and try to see if we can change things? Absolutely. And there's certain things, obviously you can't reinvent the wheel. But I do think that we are sponges, and that's what's awesome about YPN when we have our networking events or when we're together is that I get to come to these things and yes, I get to teach, but I also get to learn from my peers. And I get to see and I get to and get to be with people that are having a lot of the same things I'm going through, where we're all starting our families around the same time. We're all dealing with our businesses. We're all doing different things in our careers. And, trying to say like, where do we want to take it? What do we want to do it? And sometimes you need that sounding board. And I feel like I have that with the YPN, which is awesome. And that has been my springboard now into the executive level for our board.
I know I did see a picture in what do they call it? Where you guys all get brought into, what's the word I'm looking for?
Induction ceremony?
Induction ceremony, yes. I saw a
So
picture of the entire
my
YPN.
induction ceremony, I had a YPN entourage because I felt that my induction as secretary is not just me. I'm a representation of that younger generation that is actually this upcoming year. We're going to have a significant amount of us that are YPNers that are sitting on the board of directors for LIBOR. So to me, it's about all of us together. Coming up and being able to say that we're not just a future leadership, because I feel like that's what we keep hearing, but we are current leadership. Yeah. I'm not looking to be down in the ground for 10 years or 15 more years before they finally feel like I'm ready to be in this position. I feel like I am ready. I'll take the positions when I feel I'm ready for that position.
Yeah, I mean, I saw that picture, brought a little tear to my eye because it was just like, it's so great. Like you said, the rising tide raises all boats, and it was just all the YPNers together. It's not like, oh, Melissa got it, man, forget her. I'll get it next time. I'm the YPNer that wants to be in charge. It's not like that. It's like everybody's happy for one another, and everybody's success is celebrated amongst their peers. It's like you
And
said.
that's what I will say I think is awesome about, I'll say for RYPN is we are inclusive. I think all of us are conscious of each other and we are inclusive. We're not looking to, and we genuinely want each other to do and be better. And we have a lot of, our generation is all about transparency. So so for us, it is about being transparent with each other. And I've always been one of those people that it's like, the better that one person does that's around me, the I feel like that then also rubs off onto me and vice versa. So I want people around me to be successful.
Right. Well, let's talk about then, like, what are some of the benefits? Because so many people are like, what's in it for me? Why should I? Why should I get involved? Why should I get involved in leadership? I don't see a direct paycheck that correlates to me volunteering my time. So really, what do I get back? I mean, I know the answer, but for me, I'd like to hear, what are some of the takeaways you have from being in leadership, besides the obvious of being able to make a difference, like you said, in the industry?
Quite frankly, my name is more known. So when I call people to try to put deals together, there is a scope that goes beyond because they do see my name, they do see my face. And I think that depending on the realtor you're speaking with, I think sometimes they'll take my phone call a lot quicker than they may take somebody else's. Also, just from an advice perspective, sometimes I may be battling something and somebody there may have more of an idea of what I'm looking to understand or do or grow. And I have that person I can talk to and be able to see, like, how do I want to take it? Because I know how things are, let's say for me with my company, but sometimes you want to just get to learn more, like from a different perspective. And so I get to have that perspective through the leadership and through the YPN.
Well, and I think a lot of it is you build rapport with other leaders in the industry, and those leaders also have sometimes a pretty good market share. Like you said, if you're calling on their listings or they're calling on your listings, you have a rapport built already. You know they're a competent person because of your interactions you've had with them on the board level.
Yeah.
And being involved with leadership.
Yeah. But I think there's actually a conception. There's a misconception, and maybe it is built from things in the past where people in leadership are not very active in sales. Because I mean, it is a lot of time. This is a commitment.
Right.
But I do think that I can say that my generation is changing that. But even like when I've seen like even our recent past presidents, like you look at like let's say Laura Coppersino, and you see how she's able to do all these leadership position roles and still make a killing in real estate. So it's possible. It's just that's somebody to learn from. So it's possible. You just have to really work on your time management.
Well, let's talk about that then. Like, how do you achieve the balance between volunteer, between sales, between family? Like, what's your secret, if you could? Or
my secret is I'm still a work in progress. But what I have done though is I've like now as secretary, I've asked the board to please give me as many dates as they have on the calendar so I can calendar it out. I've asked from my company angle, as many dates as they can give me. So I'm trying already to put these dates that I'm not going to be around in my calendar. That way, I have it there, and I kind of really go more by it's an appointment. So it's like, let's say if I'm going on an appointment with an eight for a listing, or I'm going for a buyer, I'm not available during this time, but I am available during that time. So it really comes down to time management. As regards to my son, I have an amazing nanny. But that is a challenge a little bit more so for me than anything because I'm a single parent because I'm going through a divorce. But that's always a part. What I do love about this business is that you do get to have flexibility. I can never have to ask anybody, can I take this day off to take my son to the doctor? Can I take this time off to take him to a class or something like that? But my goal in the new year, something that I haven't really done in the past, is I'm definitely taking one day where at least it has to be mandatory, minimum half a day, where I'm shutting some time down and just dedicating that time to have that one-on-one with my son outside of the evenings that we spend together and stuff like that.
How old?
20 months.
20 months. That's so he's getting to the turn. I have a son too that just turned 2, and it's every day's a new adventure. So
yeah, it's amazing. It's like I feel like sometimes I look at him and it'll be like, wait, you grew like overnight. Hold on, stay down, and it's exciting, and I don't want to miss that. So, same thing. That this is why I think YPN is awesome. I've met a very good friend, Jessica. She's where I brought her into YPN, but she's a mom of two. So she was like, listen, you have to take that time and just dedicate it to your child. And she was right. And sometimes you need that person that knows what the trench, like in the trenches with you, that knows what you're going through, to say you can do it. It's okay, because I needed that.
Well, and I think part of that is you have to then make a decision events wise, like, is this event worth me? Because my wife's also a realtor. We have the same discussions. Like, is this event worth me paying the nanny or paying the babysitter? If it's not, I'm not going to go. Like, it should be worthwhile, right? I would imagine you encounter that too.
Not as
Not as
much. uh, I'll be honest, I've gone to some events that do not put $1 in my pocket. And it's just maybe like, oh, it'll be a fun time. Not as much. But yeah, no, I mean, I do look at them and I do say, is this going to be, it's not necessarily, yeah, is it going to be worth the time? I take away
not like dollars and cents, but it's, you're going to build rapport. Is it going to be a quality event? And then I get you have to have some fun too, right? I mean,
But you know what it is that in my position now as secretary, I have to be so much more visible between 3 counties,
right.
between Queens, Nassau, and Suffolk. So it's like there's going to be a lot of events that my nanny's going to be getting paid overtime for.
If you were having this discussion with a brand new agent, somebody said, you know what, I see the value, I want to get involved with leadership, any advice for them to avoid any challenges they might have in their career or their personal life? Like, what would you say to them?
Definitely time management. Prioritize. One thing I do tell people is, because once you drink the Kool-Aid and once people get to know you and see you and see that you're involved or that you want to get involved, you get pulled it's easy to get pulled in a lot of different directions. You have to know when to say no. You can't be at everything and do everything. It's physically impossible. At one point, I think I had overcommitted myself to so many different things on the board that I burned myself out, and I had to step back. This is before I had my son. I had to step back and say, I need to breathe for a second here, and reevaluate what was I looking to make as far as my commitment is concerned. So I want people to get involved, but be realistic about your involvement. It may be being on 1 or 2 committees. You don't need to be on 50 different committees. Look to see where you really want to learn more, or you feel like you can really give more of your advice to, or really be able to make more of an impact on, and take it from there.
Yeah, I know. I had a mentor tell me same thing. Like, they said, oh, I want to get involved with leadership. And like, oh, get in this committee, get in that. I'm like, yes, 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 yes. And then next thing you know, like, I'm just like you said, getting burnt out. And then somebody's
yeah.
The most powerful word.
It's very easy because obviously we're still building. I look at it. I'm still building my business. So when I'm looking at all of these things, I can't sit there and I still have to make sure my bills are taken care of. So, but I want to be involved because I do find value in being involved. But you do want to be smart about your involvement.
Any other advice, let's say, that you may have encountered for new agents? Let's leave the leadership out of it for right now. Let's just pretend I just got my license. What were some of the challenges that you've heard from other agents that they encounter?
When you're younger, or when sometimes I even still get it now. It's always like, how old are you again? And and what's this or what's that? And I always tell people, like, once you're in this business, you basically have to live, breathe, sleep, eat real estate. Do it, know your craft, so that when somebody questions you on something, you're able to give them a response back. Practice your craft. Practice your presentation. Know what you try. Make sure that you're not just guessing. If you don't know something, find out. Go to somebody and ask them. I always tell people real estate's obviously a numbers game. So the more people you're in front of, the more chances are that you're going to get business. And but there's nothing. And I think that also now what I would say is be yourself. Because at some point, so many years ago, when I was looking at it more from an administrative management angle, I felt that I was I had to be the specific person. You know, I
Right.
had to look a certain way, talk a certain way. And I wasn't, and I, at the end, I felt so frumpy during that. If I didn't feel as content with things as I was. I wasn't even, you never know. But I was, at some point, I had to sit back and reevaluate myself and say, what do I really want? Who do I want to be? And I was like, I want to be myself. I want, when people know me, they get the genuine Melissa. And for good or bad, with me, you get genuine Melissa, and genuine Melissa truly cares about people. So, I think that's always what you want in real estate anyway. But I may not look like a 70-year-old person, and it's okay. I'm okay with
Well, I think maybe getting educated, just like you said, getting educated, honing your craft, and just
that. Yes.
being above the bar. Because I think as younger people, sometimes they think like we're going to come in jeans and a t-shirt to a listing. I mean, just be professional and do great things, because they're going to start recognizing like it's not just we're the future. Just like you said, we're here now, and
Yes.
we're part of.
I'm so tired of you are the future. And it's like, future of what? Because I'm here now. Don't tell, when I was told that at that point, I feel like there was one, because when I was told that, so however many years ago, I don't think that was the response. The response to me should not have been, you have time. The response should have been, you know what? Why don't you work on these items so that way you're ready? That's what the response should be, because being ready has nothing to do with age. It has to do with your mental ability and what's going on for you at that point in time. So I think that conversation needs to change. I also wish that we would change the word millennial, because at this point, I think I don't hate a word more than I hate millennial.
All right, so what do we want to call it now? The
I
now
don't
generation?
know, but can we think of something else? I know I'm not the only one that hates the word millennial. I know I'm not the only, because it's
I
like everywhere we go, it's like, oh my God, these millennials, and for better or for worse, for some reason, I feel like in real estate they talk about it like it's a negative thing, and I'm like, wait, why are you
yeah,
talking about me like we're bad?
you're those, and I was in a meeting not too long ago, and they said those. The person speaking said those millenniums, and I'm like, what millennium? What are you even talking about? Like, just call us people. We're like, I don't want to ever put a divide between generations, because we're all human beings. Who
Yeah.
cares what age we are? And why can't we all just get along and build bridges rather than rivers? Is what I
And
feel.
then yeah, and then also the reality is that, at this point, millennial also kind of, when they're using the term millennial, they're also talking about Gen X, which is not millennial. So I'm sitting here and I'm like, you're kind of like knocking out a group. I don't know. They don't say it in a way that I think sounds fabulous. So I'm like, can we change the word millennial and say something else?
Well, for right now, for all of these, we're going to say YPNers.
Yes,
I think we can
I'm
we
all
can
for that.
we can use that for now. Young professional networkers in the industry, young at heart, young at age, young in the business. Anything you want to say in closing, like your last?
Um, what I want to say is that there really is nothing better than real estate. What I love about real estate is what you put in is what you get back out of it. If you really make a genuine commitment to it. I do think that being involved from the leadership perspective has helped me financially with deals, to be honest, because I have made deals because people saw me that way. Um, but also in an enrichment perspective as a person. And I think that's awesome. And yes, I do have things that I want to accomplish as a person in leadership from the board's perspective that I do want to look at or see and see how it can affect change. And the only way that we're going to get there is if we get involved. So I think if you are looking at this as a career, it's like, why not? And we can do it all. We can have it all. Obviously, we have to be strategic in how we're doing it, but we can do it, especially now where what's different, I think, now versus back then is I can be in a meeting and be able to text somebody while I'm in the meeting. Whereas, 20 years ago, okay, the cell phones really weren't there. They would be paging you or something like that at that point. Yes, beepers existed at one time, kids.
Yeah.
So I that has allowed you to be able to be more mobile so that you can actually do more things.
Okay. Well, thank you so much for your advice, and thank you for being the first one on MilleniWHO Talks with the YPNers all across the nation.
I
We're going to
love
give you.
breaking molds. I'm totally excited, and thanks for having me.
Let's see if we can get this round of applause back again. Can you hear that? No, let me see.
No, back.
It wasn't very good. I'm going to give you a round of applause.
Thank you, JMan. It was so awesome being on this with you. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you. Take care and be on the lookout for our next Millennial Who Talks. It's going to be next week. And thanks again to Melissa Gomez from the Long Island Board of
Happy
Realtors.
holidays, by the way. Happy holidays.
Same to you, and hopefully your little guy gets everything that he hopes Santa brings him.
Oh, I have a rule. No. You only allow one toy per person. And that's it. Because I do not want a kid that in 4 years is going to be like, I want 30 gifts. Because it's not happening. I can't. I hate entitled children. So it's not happening. So no, my son will not have 1,000 gifts underneath the tree.
Hopefully your son gets
He'll have
everything
one for
that his
me.
mom wants him to have. I'm going to rephrase that. And Merry Christmas.
Hopefully he's just happy and learning and developing. That's all I care about.
All right. Take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye.